Hey YouTube, welcome back to the Car Journey. I'm Tom, and today's video is going to be about changing out the rear sway bar on an FL5 Type R. We're going to replace a RV6 bar, so this won't be from stock to the Karcepts bar, but it's going to be the same steps. So if you've never done this before, hopefully this will help. I'm probably not going to do a great job of taking every video because I'm not really a how-to guy. But I'll do my best and we'll see what happens here. So first things first, got to get the Type R in the air. And if you're like me and you have the older quick jacks that have the shorter wheelbase, which I've had these a while, and ND Miata was one of the cars I needed to be able to jack up, and it has a very short distance, short wheelbase. I had to buy these extensions. They're kind of pricey, but I tell you what, they do the job pretty nicely. Apologize for what's going to be pretty loud noise, but when you put these things on here, they just do a great job of extending that. So you can just go ahead and place your blocks in here, and it almost uses the entire length, as you can see kind of by the previous prints here. And we'll get those under the car, and we'll get the car up in the air, and then we'll start taking off the rear wheels and disconnecting the lower rear control arms from the inboard side. Those are the alignment bolts. I found that worked better than anything else I did. When I put on the RV6 bar, I tried a few different ways, and nothing would work other than doing that, just because of the length of the arms and the capture. Probably if you have a Karcepts bar already in there and you're taking it in and out because the arms come off, you don't have to do any of this crap. But until you get to that point, you're probably going to do something this or something very similar to change bars. So here we go. So here's everything you need to actually do this job. You're going to need a torque wrench that does 27 to 40 foot-pounds for the arms and the mounts, and I'll include the spec you need for the lower Endlink bolts that are part of the chassis. You're going to need a couple pry bars. You might be able to get away with just one. Paint pen's a good tip for marking your alignment, which we'll get into. A longer 1/2-inch drive to both break the 17 mil alignment bolt loose and to retension it. Another 1/2-inch drive with a 14 mil for the other end of the alignment bolt, and then a 9/16 to actually do the end and end links on the Karcepts kit. And then a 14 mil if you don't have another 9/16 like I don't, just to do the jam nuts. A metric set you're specifically going to need, I think it was the 4.5 and 5, or sorry, yeah, maybe 4.5 and 5 millimeter Allen wrenches for various things. I used one of them to remove the RV6, which I think is a 5 or a 6. I think it's a 6. And then I needed the 4.5 for the locking collars. A couple extensions, and I didn't use this guy as much as I wanted, you'll see in the video, but I wish I had. So, and then a jack, and then some kind of block, because your jack, depending on how high you jack up the car, may not be tall enough, and you need to put some pressure on that lower control arm when you go to put it back into its slot to reinstall the alignment bolts. But yeah, that should get you started. Let me show you what we're doing here. Get under here with some light. So here is you can see the RV6 bar going all the way across there. These are the alignment bolts I was referring to. You can see the other one over here. And so they are 17 on this side and 14 mil on the back side. And the 14 mil is how you actually adjust it. So you'll see there's some paint pen on there, but not enough. So let me go grab a paint pen and we'll go ahead and mark this. And we want to mark this disc versus the chassis so that we can roughly put the alignment back where it was, because this will definitely change your rear toe if you're not careful. You can see it's pretty parallel. These side markings are pretty parallel. I'm not sure if this is better or worse, but yeah, maybe like that. Pretty parallel to the deck. This one, on the other hand, is not. You can see we had to extend the arm inside to kind of tow it out more to get to zero toe, but you can see the markings. I can't really see the markings well where they line up with the chassis. Maybe that worked in my buddy's garage where we had more light, so we're going to fix that right now. And again, we're just going to try and find somewhere we can mark on the chassis. It's something good. This is really hard because this paint is not going to stick. But that's what I'm not too worried about because it's pretty straightforward. This one I'm worried about because it's not exactly centered. I'm hoping if I blot enough ink here. Sorry if I'm doing a terrible job with the camera, this kind of sucks. Hopefully that's enough that I'm going to probably turn off the camera and get in here with a little more light and try and figure out how to mark this better, but you do get the idea. There we go. Maybe that'll work. Maybe I just need a little bit of paint base first. Alright, we're going to go with that. So, next step will be to take these bolts off. Let me go ahead and do that real quick. Note the ride height sensor that you're usually terrified of breaking off is actually off of this leading control arm, so there's not any chance of breaking that the way we're doing things. I can tell you that because the springs on this, it's a divorce setup, the springs on this, there's some fear that, you know, it's going to expand with a lot of force. I didn't find that to be the case, but if you're worried about it, have a jack handy and bring the jack, and you can pretty much put it right under the spring cup itself. And then that way, you know, it's not the best of leverage being at the end here, but you don't really want it on the end. You can even do this low point where the end link goes in. Any of that'll work, but you'll be surprised that it's not under a lot of force at full droop with the stock springs. Go ahead and just loosen up this end link. This one's already all loose. I got some clunking. I didn't want to over torque things, so I do this. I left my power ratchet in the truck. I'm lazy, so speed this up. Tender. Pry the bolt out a little bit. There we go. A little bit more. The end link. The end link is causing some fun. Alright. Alright, we got to the threads. So this point we can just thread it out. There's not really a lot of tension on it. Here's some. We're just running play out of the lower control arm, just kind of bound up between that end link and this. We'll get most of it out, which we get pretty close. We'll just pry bar and pull the bolt out. Shouldn't be too bad. Alright, we get the point where we have to play the bolt, so I should pop the end. Do what we were talking about. Quite there yet. That's fine. Here's the bolt you in. Still fighting, but it's telling me a lot of so I'm pulling while I do this. There we go. And you can hear that ping as it released. Threads generally look okay, so I'm not too worried about any damage. And yeah, I did the same on that end, so fantastic. And we're trying to keep this bar intact for the next owner. Yeah, that end link's completely loose at that end, and so on this end. All right, so we got what we wanted. So now we just want to torque this out to take some pressure off of this bolt to be able to push it out, because when I installed this bar, it just wasn't that hard. There we go. It just wasn't that hard to pull the bolt out, so. I think I'm going to thread it out this way. There's enough teeth in there. Put the 14 on the other side, like clear bubble of tabs that hold it in. I haven't switched the camera angle, but I don't think it's terribly useful. Got it here, it's spinning. I just realized, okay, we're okay stuff. We're okay. I was a little worried when I was doing this one myself, so I moved off my paint marks, but looks like we're okay. There goes the tab, the bolt's almost all the way out, and the bolt's out. And you see, nothing really happened. It didn't have like this incredible amount of force behind it. And now we've gotten that, hopefully you can see okay, we've got that alignment bolt out, the lower control arm's free. I'll scooch up here and let this arm down. And you can see it didn't pop till just now, right when I said it, of course. But you can see it's under very little force. And now we've gained access to the entire sway bar. And this will just make the whole removal process a ton easier. All right, so we got the this side off. It was a lot easier than the other side because the bushing and bar were no longer putting pressure on it, so it just basically popped right out. So we got to do these two, and they are 6mm Allens. We'll do that on both sides, and then we'll go ahead and take this bar physically out of the car. One thing you'll note on the RV6 bar, the top bolt and the bottom bolt have different lengths, so keep that in mind. The stock bolts I think did too. I can't remember. No, I think maybe it's more about the, it's actually more about the mount for the RV6. Either way, long as top, short as bottom. So we got one more to go. And then this thing will probably drop on me and hit me, and that's how you'll know I've got this last one out. Luckily, that's, like I said, the reason why I did the bottom one second was they're short, the bar is free. And there's the other second short bolt. Yeah, now the question is, if I pull off these little mounts because they just slip over the bushings, can I get this bar out without taking off the Endlinks and make my life easier? So we're going to try that first. And the answer is looking pretty positive. Look at that. And we were able to get the whole bar out, no problems. So that is how you remove the bar. I apologize for all the noises, but figured I'd show you. The bottom bar, obviously the RV6 bar. The top bar is the stock Type R bar. I've got a little caliper here. It's a good old analog one, so just so, in case you were wondering if the claims are true, just moved it a little bit, but you can see right on there, 25 millimeter, just like they said. And the stock bar, sorry, terrible multitasking, and the stock bar right at 20 millimeter. And stock bar, pretty heavy. I'm guessing it's solid. This is tubular. This is actually, believe it or not, this is lighter than, I would say, even with the Endlink still attached. This is a lighter setup, so a little weight reduction at the lowest part in the rear. So the one part you don't really care about, in my opinion. But all right, unfortunately, it was way too hard to film this, measuring and doing the torquing, but we did get these aligned, which we were correct on, and 30 seconds sticking out at the end, and 40 foot-pounds on this bolt. So yeah, next thing we need is, we know we're going to use 27 for these bolts, which are these four guys. So we'll go ahead and get this on the car with the these mounts. Hopefully I can feed it in this way. Worst case, I'll just take off one end and retorque it while it's on the car. Hopefully that won't be, if I have to go that route, it won't be too bad, but stay tuned. We're going to switch to the tripod mount again and go from there. All right, so we're back into the car. Hopefully this thing will work. So what we're going to do is we're going to reinstall the bar, and if you remember, we're going to do round side down. And so we're just going to fish it in, get it up there, and we're in business. I think I can do it like this. I think that's mostly working. A little tricky with this part. Let's see. Let's see. Minor problem here. There we go. And we're more or less in position now. Hopefully you can see that. So we've got these, I think they're M8 bolts. So we're going to put these in. We're going to get them started by hand, and then we'll torque them down to 27 foot-pounds. I've already set the torque wrench to that, so remember, round side down. All right, so we're back. We got the bar installed. These bolts are loose right now, but we're going to torque them down to 27 foot-pounds. We're going to have to then tighten up the collars, and there's a kind of a process where we need to hammer this. But yeah, we'll get that torqued down. Do that later off camera. I'm just going to cinch these up so they don't move. Bear with me here. All right, let's go down. All right. So now we're going to torque this down 27 foot-pounds for these guys. Good one. Go and do the other side. And I usually have a smaller torque wrench I use. I only like using this one because I'm in the range. But that one's about functioning. As I learned recently on the project, this is by far a better option. That one is still kind of loose. Just think about the real quick. Always something, right? Whenever you start a project, like, oh, this is looking easy. I'll just make a quick video. And then things happen. Here we are. All right, we're here. Close your torques back there. Close back in here. Run the bolt. That top one done. And that leaves just the top one on this side. And we'll be on our way here. And all right, so now we have everything tightened down. So I think it's going to be easier to go ahead and reconnect the lower control arm at this point. So we'll go ahead and hook that up. And so you have to reconstruct these guys. So it's a 2-piece bolt. We want to make sure that we have the right end out that we marked for paint. So one of these discs had a little bit of blue in it. This one, so this is the one from this side where it's going to be a little bit canted compared to it. So you can see these grooves on this bolt. This is how a cam bolt works. So it's got these little, you can't really see it on the body because the angle here is really tough, but there's little welded on lips on this arm, and by moving where this is centered in that circle, moves this arm in and out, and that's what sets your toe. It affects camber a little bit, but it's mostly predominantly toe because it's on the rear end of that knuckle, so or upright. So we'll go ahead and try and get this in here. Looks like this one didn't shift, so we just need to push it back up. This is where having the jack will be handy. So we're gonna have to use this block and this guy. We'll kind of push it in here, and then we'll have to use try the smaller pry bar. We'll try this one to get this angle correct, so we can get the push and twist this at the same time. And it's just a lot easier with the pry bar than it is. See, I almost got it. So it's just a lot easier with the jack. We got a helper. Probably even easier with the jack. So excuse me while I switch on by. All right. So some business here. I'm gonna put this guy on here and get this close. Try not to hit that fender of the car such low miles, and it's stuck. And I say that from experience. And try to be as careful as I can. We don't always do this plan. As everyone who's ever worked on a car knows. I'm not really liking that. Let's see. I'm not doing the camera. Let's get a angle for you here. It's like good right there. So let's try pushing it. We're getting closer. So where's my pry bar that I was just talking about? The bigger one here for now. It's not bad because it's a lot of this work. So let's go ahead and jack this up a little bit more. All right, we need more. And this way bar's okay for now. Hold it down. I'm blocking the camera a little bit, so I apologize. But this is just one of those things where it's going to be hard to film. All right, get pretty close here. So we're trying to get this eyelet lined up here. And we got enough of it. You have to put a bolt on this side. The trick is the bolt has to start from the other side. And we want it that way. So, let's see, it's extra tricky with this bar. Swaybar, why doesn't it? Interesting. Alright, well. Well, not as big of a deal as I thought. And we're through. So, we'll stick on this end disc again. We care about this alignment so it matches. So yeah, the disc is towards the bottom there too. We got happiness. We'll grab this proper lock nut here. This guy, it's like a 17 mil nylock. We'll probably have a couple more alignments on this nylock before I'll probably replace it. And we're actually looking pretty close to the right angles. So we'll go ahead and get this started. Just so we just want to see. So it's relatively happy. So you can find the correct socket. 14, 12. Well, let's go. I'll get it. All right. Put it on the shorter guy for now. So I'm going to do is take the slack so that this gets in the groove. You can see it's rotating slightly, it's pulling it all in. We're still not feeling on the backside yet. And you can see it's very low effort. Just taking up a lot of slack here now. There it goes. Now it's starting to give effort. It's in the grooves on the backside. It's clearly in the grooves on the front side. We've got the alignment almost right. We just need to actually tilt it the other way. We'll do that real quick. Put the 14 back on here. And let's switch to the backside. Try this on the head of this bolt. And we'll go ahead and try and rotate this. And we're having a bit of success. And there you go. Can you see the paint marks? With this paint mark and that paint mark, pretty much lined up. I think I went the hair too far. There, that was good. So I'm going to go ahead and leave this one on just to make sure. Really, it's going to be a tell for me. I'm going to go ahead and use the other side. We'll have the tell that wrench moves, that my alignment is slipping, and I need to check it. But we'll go ahead and tighten this up. So far, so good. Oh, you see move? Move a little bit still. Let the back this off. Fix it there. You see it wanting to move there? It's tricky. So one of the things you can do if you have this problem is go with the longer wrench. I don't think this one's any longer, so probably no help. I'll put a pipe on it or something else. But what I'll do is I'll actually just line my body better. Liking that. I'll probably check on it later after we finish the install. But for the purposes of what we just did on that side, we're good. Swaybar still happy. I'll push it up out of the way. And now we just repeat the process on the other side. Alright, so you can see we've got both sides done now. So the suspension is back in alignment spec. of where it was, and everything looks pretty good. We just got to put in the end links. So what I'm thinking is I will do the bottom first. That'll make it a lot easier then to feed it, I think, into the arms than the other way around. And so we are going to set up this whole deal and the stock bolt. So we'll build this up. I'm going to set this up with the tripod. We'll be focusing on this area right next to this paint mark. So hopefully I can get this little tripod happy about that. Let's see, how's that look? A little bit low. Can you see this? Yeah. So that's where we're going to be working. A little closer, want to be a little better, but we know this needs to be about a 90-degree difference, so we're going to try to get there after we've done this install. We've got some wrenches to tighten this all up. And yeah, here we go. So we'll build this up. Put this guy on one side, put this guy on another, and then we're going to feed this in like so, and then put the bolt in. So let's give that a shot. Usually when I try this, it falls apart 16 times. We've already preset the end links roughly, well, pretty precisely. But what I found is I'm not that lucky and I've already turned it a couple times, so we'll be happy if it's pretty close at this point. Again, Brian, just go with me here. If you send people this video, just tell me I'm stupid. Everyone will believe you. Alright, so got that in there. I'll just make sure it's happy. So go ahead and I don't want to really use the power tool on this yet, so we're just going to hand do it. Remember, we were kind of mean to these on the way out because we kind of threaded them to escape them from the last links. We won't ever have to do that again, so yeah, these just reasonably tight for now. We'll settle affairs later, so to speak. But yeah, that's basically we'll have to clock these two if you're not familiar with it. You want to have the full articulation, and so when you're looking at an end link, you can see how this is now rotated partially. So what we'll do is when we're done with the final product, that'll be perfectly perpendicular to the cross bolt. And so yeah, it'll function much better that way. If you don't have it that way and you've ever broken end links, that's how. It's binding. So we call that clocking on an end link, and we'll have to fix the clocking on the other end link too. But yeah, for now, this is pretty good. We'll get it's a little tricky. So we have the wrenches here, different lengths, but 9/16 is the true size. So we'll go ahead and try and fix that now. And you can see I've now fixed this. I'll show you with the camera later. And then we're gonna go ahead and pull this Swaybar down, which is a little tricky because it's new. And we're gonna use 3.3 to start, I think. And I'll have to fix the clocking on the cammed part that goes into the Swaybar is angled wrong. So I'm going to use this wrench to get this correct. We don't really want to go into the Swaybar quite yet, but we can at least get everything close. That way when we get the other side done, everything will just pop in. It'll be nice. So yeah. Oh, that's close. That's probably right about what I want. Yep. It's looking pretty good. I might even put it in there just to get it exactly right so the other side's easier. Yeah, but we're right there. Just gotta bring the arm down a little bit. It's really hard when these are new, but after it's had some miles on it, I can tell you it gets a lot less difficult to quote unquote find the hole. And there we go. So still the cam's not quite right, but it'll take care of itself pretty quick once I put this on it. Get this right. Yeah, we are right there. Right? So yeah, just a little bit more of a clock. Oh, maybe too far. Maybe that's. There we go, and it's in. So you can see now the cam is fit into the groove as it should, and yeah, then you'll just put this 9/16 nut on this side, and that's how the whole mechanism basically works. I don't want to fight this while we're doing this, so I'm going to pull this out, and I'm going to go do the other side, and I'll be right back. You can see we've gotten it done on this side. Got everything clocked the way we want. This is perpendicular to the cross bolt, so it's the best clocking we can hope for. Same on this side, where this is parallel to this first surface. That gives us the maximum amount of articulation. So all we're going to do is repeat the process over here where it needs to be done. Oh no, I'm going to try and get a better view here by making this guy a little taller. I don't know if this will help. let's see how that does a little bit. We're here, so I need to aim this camera a little bit. All right, let's give that a shot. Hopefully I'll bump into it a million times. So we've got, so Brian gave us a couple extra of these nuts, and so go ahead and start doing this. So we'll need a couple wrenches, which are on the camera here. So first things first, we took care of the clocking. We're going to go 2-2. So we just got to get this guy in the hole, so to speak. So it wants to go in 1, so it should go in 2. Get it close. There it goes, all the way down to the cam. Fantastic. Go ahead and throw a nut on it. And you notice it went in without any effort. So this is a good sign we're not done, because what I'll do after I'm done filming this video is put the car down on a block so I can still get under it like this, and then check the preload. So in other words, can I go ahead and remove that the same way while there's weight on both tires? Because I mean, they should in theory go compress the same amount, so the preload is the same as it is now, which is 0. And hopefully that's the case. But if not, what I will do is then take out one side. It'll be difficult to use a pry bar, and I might have to jack it back here and get this out. Or I could even be smart and leave it out now, put the car down, and then try and get it in by spinning the length of this end of it. We get the height right, and then it'll go in without effort, and we're missing. For the purposes of this video, because it'd be very difficult to film when the car's several inches lower, I'm just going to go ahead and finish this job up like we're good. So at this point, we just want to tighten up that nut, and then we'll fix the clocking all the way around. There's a short spec for this in the instructions. I've just learned to go pretty tight, but not with anything longer than this, because you won't be able to break it loose later. So if you can't get that much leverage on it, don't tighten it that much. You might get a little noisier, but at least you'll be able to break it loose without having to jack the car this high up to do it. So one of the things I'll sometimes try is, hey, can I do that without much effort? Yes, I can. So we're good. I'm calling it there. And now I just gotta fix the clocking and then do those jam nuts, which shouldn't be too bad. Now that I've done the one side, I kind of know everything just wants to work. So what I'll do is I'll do the top one first, which is turn the clock perfectly. So I've got one to hold the end link itself, and then one to hold the jam nut. And I'm just gonna tighten this jam nut up by hand and get this guy on there. And all I'm trying to do, there we go. That's all you need to do. Doesn't take a lot of work. But now I've got the jam nut force there. Not only half done, I gotta make sure the clocking underneath is good. It's slightly off, so I'm gonna fix it. And I've got that now good. I'm gonna go ahead and put a wrench on the jam nut here. And let's see if I got a good connection here. Pardon me, I'm switch here. Better with the 9/16. And try to do this remote. And that's it. And there we go. We've got our clocking done. We've torqued this down. We've torqued down the arm, which is this 8 mil on the end, to 40 foot-pounds, 27 foot-pounds on the two bolts that go into the subframe. We'll have to check the torque on this collar, and the collars need to be tensioned as much as they can. I think his procedure probably still calls out for loosening this up, tapping it with a hammer, cinching it a little bit, tapping it with a hammer more. You just want the collars to have as much flushness to each mount as they can, so the bar has no lateral move. If it has any lateral movement, it'll eventually wear, but the bigger thing is it'll have that horrible sound people don't like. You know, you'll be driving around and there'll be clicks and slaps that you don't know. It sounds like your rear suspension's falling apart, but it's likely the collars. So make sure you pay close attention to the provided instructions for how to do the collars. But that's essentially it. Like I said, we're on 2.2. I'll include the chart in the video now. I was wrong when I said earlier I was thinking of the RV6. So this bar on 1.2 is the same as the RV6 at full stiff, but this one on 3.3, I think it was, or 3.2, is the same as the thinner wall Karcepts bar on 4.4. So instead of being near max, we're in the middle of the range. We're right now at 2.2. I think that's, you'll see in the chart, only about 100 or so pounds more stiff than before. But I think the car was close, so I don't want to dramatically ramp it up, especially on cold runs on Saturday morning. So what I think I'm going to do is go ahead and leave it here, take my 4 morning runs on Saturday, and then I'll go ahead and sorry, hopefully that camera was too far off the whole time. Then I'll take my runs. I'll try either 2.3 depending on what it needs, or maybe even 3.3 and overshoot. And then Sunday I'll go from what I've learned on Saturday. But that's the Karcepts bar install. Again, just to sum up, first mark your alignment against the subframe tabs that stick up here and this disc, so you know where to put it back to. Then you can put a jack under it, but there's really not a lot of pressure there. You are going to want to have a jack and a pry bar to kind of take the pressure to get this bolt out. That's kind of the tricky part, is getting this bolt out. Once you get this bolt out, and after you've disconnected the end link on the stock bar or the RV6 bar, then when this guy drops, you have all the room in the world, and you don't have to mess with the exhaust at all. You can leave it totally intact. I didn't loosen up anything about the exhaust. When I put it in the RV6, I started messing with that, thinking I get enough play here. Maybe you can, but you really have to do so much with the exhaust. Doing these 2 alignment bolts is just so much easier. As you saw, the bar just came right out, and I was able to reinstall the Karcepts bar fully assembled. I just had to pull the LCA down a little bit to clear the arm out, one side only, and that's it. I hope this was helpful. I know I'm not great at this. I've never actually really filmed any how-tos, but at the very worst case, I have stills of it all, and I'll definitely caption this video. But if you like it, like and subscribe. If you have any questions, comment down below. And yeah, look for the next video, which will be follow-up on how this bar performed, and that way I can compare it to the RV6 if you're considering those two products, or you have the RV6 and you're considering an upgrade on an FL5. You might find that pretty useful. But I'm Tom's Car Journey. We'll see you next time.